penetrate and dissipate these clouds of darkness, the general mind must be strengthened by education. These words by Thomas Jefferson could not be more necessary than in these crazy times that we are all experiencing. When our founding fathers conceived of this nation, they recognized that education is the cornerstone of the republic that we all know and cherish. This nation does a great disservice when it restricts the education that this nation is founded upon. I declare independence from online learning. Not only does it restrict the social nature of humanity, it also disproportionately affects urban inner city youths who need an education as much as their suburban counterparts. Online learning also leads to a constant presence on electronic devices. Through the restriction of human contact as a general result of the global pandemic, this generation of students have had a stunted social emotional growth that only gets worse through further virtual instruction. I recognize the necessity for online schooling. It is a temporary remedy that leads to the decrease of COVID infection rates and is a commonsensical alternative to no education at all. But online schooling, if going on for too long, leads to a lack of social contact that maturing young men and women need in order to be productive members of society. All of us have already undergone online schooling last year, and here we are, doing it again. I do not know a single person that wants to be online and be distanced from their friends, their teammates, their family, their fellow club members. Thanks to today's technology, we have the ability to stay socially connected, but staying on a screen for so long leads to further reaching consequences. I don't know about you guys, but while I was doing online learning, I was on my iPad about 8 hours a day. How many of you guys were on for more than 8 hours for school, watching TV or playing video games? Is that cycle a good habit? These habits meant that we continued the same cycle of the constant contact with these devices, but not with one another. Online learning is a union between standard education and the utilization of technology that is like a marriage between two monarchs. This union creates an adversarial environment between learning and technology for a lot of students. It's certainly an imperfect union when its students are enslaved by the very devices that are so often described as having the capacity to do good. Even when online schooling is utilized, it works under the assumption that students already have access to electronic devices and other materials that are required for such a practice. With the lack of resources available for school districts across the country, it is unfair for the government to thrust this policy on the backs of unprepared school districts. Students, especially in poorer school districts, may not necessarily have access to Wi-Fi or a device to participate in online learning. Private schools are most likely more prepared than their public counterparts and will most likely find ways to sustain the needs of students. We have all been to St. Luke's and seen those that are most in need. Many of us have felt the many packages, boxes, and meat containers that are distributed to these people. Also their hands as they thank us for helping such a great cause. Many of those same children that we see also attend school in the Buffalo School District. Buffalo does not have the resources to provide devices and Wi-Fi access to these children, so then these children won't receive an education. No, schools cannot implement online learning unless they are prepared to do so. Even then, it is not as effective as in-person learning. In order for us to right the wrong of this policy, we must not allow schools to use remote learning unless the faculty and student body are able to do so. There also should be a limit of screen time that students will have. Faculty should assign work that is online and work that should be done on paper so as not to exhaust students and teachers alike. With these reforms in mind, we're able to limit the spread of the coronavirus and make education efficient and efficacious so as to continue our great republic.